Maycember is upon us, and if your calendar is anything like mine, it's basically survival mode until summer. Concerts, banquets, field trips, graduations, last-minute projects and assignments.
Bring it on.
The calendar is pretty full and it can feel a little overwhelming. And when we hit this season, making a meal plan feels like just one more thing to add to the pile of overwhelming things. So I am at Aldi today picking up some groceries, and I thought I would share with you some super fast and budget friendly, no recipe meal ideas to make when things get particularly chaotic. Because this time of year is busy enough for moms and for families. So let's make dinner the easy part. There are some obvious options here at Aldi because, in my opinion, they have a pretty good selection of like heat meat items. Lots of different fully cooked meats or already cooked meats from various flavor profiles, fresh pastas that will cook quickly. I think one of the best prices you'll find on a take and bake pizza is here at Aldi. I mean, these pizzas are big for around $7. The kinds of recipes that I'm showing in this video, or I should say no recipe meals that I'm showing in this video, are just a step above those heat meat options. And when I say no recipe, I mean I do not want to have to do a bunch of prep work. I don't want to have to chop a bunch of stuff or measure a bunch of stuff or wash a bunch of stuff. Basically, a few ingredients, cook it, combine it, eat it, go on with my life. Not a lot of like brain power from me, which is something I'm looking for this time of year because my mom brain is already full of various obligations. But meals that will come together quickly, keep everybody fed with some semblance of nutrition, and that are tasty, because what does it matter if they won't actually eat it? If you want to pick up some ground beef and taco seasoning, a can of Rotel, maybe a can of chili beans, and then a box of mac and cheese, you've got pretty much everything you need to make a super easy chili mac. I like using the shells and cheese variety of the box mac and cheese for this recipe because it comes with a pouch of cheese sauce, and so you don't even need to pull out like milk and butter and measure those things. I just brown up the ground beef, season it with the taco seasoning, add my Rotel. You can throw in some beans or even some corn if you want. I do all that while the pasta is cooking on the stove, and then drain it and add it to the meat mixture, and then just put that packet of cheese sauce in to make it nice and cheesy and creamy. My Aldi had several different varieties of shells and cheese, including like an organic, a white cheddar variety, and they also had some specially selected varieties that had like different kinds of cheese flavors that I think might do well with a more like Italian inspired flavor profile. You could brown up some ground Italian sausage, or even slice up some sausage links to brown, maybe toss in some fire roasted tomatoes, or maybe throw in some spinach, you know, as a vegetable, and then use one of those other flavors of the shells and cheese to create this same style of quick dish. Tonight we are having a creamy pesto ravioli. This is one of my 16-year-old daughter's favorite meals, and bonus, it's super easy to make. So let me show you how we're doing it. Since I'm using a bag of frozen ravioli from Aldi, I put those into the water in the pot and then turn the stove on. If I'm using fresh ravioli or tortellini, I would bring the water to a boil first. But if I add the frozen ravioli to the water after it boils, it's gonna bring the temperature back down and it'll have to come to a boil again anyway. Once that boils, I'm gonna add my bag of broccoli florets because it's only gonna take about 3 to 5 minutes or so after it comes to a boil, and that'll be the right amount of time for my broccoli to cook too. A lot of people, when they're thinking about pastas, think about either Alfredo or marinara, and we forget about pesto, but there are a couple of different options in Aldi. So I just have the regular pesto, the green stuff, a little jar of it. It's 6.7 ounces. I'm gonna put that into my skillet here, and then I'm gonna use the pesto jar and just fill it up with heavy cream. Half and half would be fine too. I'm gonna pour that into the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat on just medium low here. When you're working with heavy cream, it'll burn really quickly, so you gotta be careful about the heat. And of course, Parmesan cheese that you shred up yourself from a block is gonna melt a little faster and a little easier, but we're going for quick here, so I am using the pre-shredded stuff. I'm probably gonna eyeball it here. You can use more or less, but I'm gonna use a little more than half of this little 6-ounce container, 5-ounce container. I just wanna stir that all together over low, medium low heat until the cheese starts to melt and as the ravioli and the broccoli are cooking. Now you absolutely could add a protein to this dish. You could use like some rotisserie chicken, throw a few chicken tenders into the air fryer while you're making it up to throw on top of this, some Italian smoked sausage links, but I'm just gonna keep it vegetarian for tonight. that's what we're going with. My pasta and my broccoli have been boiling for about 4 minutes, so they're almost done. But before I drain them, I'm gonna add just a little bit of the water from the pot to make my sauce stretch just a little bit farther. Okay, adding my cooked pasta and broccoli. And then it's just stir it up and serve. The vegetables are right here in the main dish, which is one of the things that makes this such an easy weeknight dinner. It comes together quickly. It can be eaten fairly quickly. Leftovers will reheat just fine. And it's really tasty. You want to use more cheese, you can. You want to use a different vegetable or serve the vegetable on the side and just leave the broccoli out, you can. But there you go. Super easy, fast meal for chaotic weeks. Big thanks to Ultima Replenisher for sponsoring today's video. So I'm not a marathon runner. I am not training for a triathlon, but turns out electrolytes are not just for elite athletes. They're also for regular, everyday, average, middle-aged moms like me who are just trying to survive Monday. I like all of these flavors from the tropical variety pack. I've had these before. My favorites are the watermelon and the pink lemonade, but I'm excited to try the cherry pomegranate from the summer splash variety pack because I'm a sucker for just about anything cherry flavored. So Ultima has 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 carbs, and no artificial sweeteners, but what it does feature is all 6 key electrolytes without the salty aftertaste. Yeah, that's a good one. That might be my new favorite. Now you can order Ultima. There's a QR code here plus a link in the description box, but it's also available in Target stores. So you could pick up some Ultima while you're running a mom errand, grabbing other random items like say batting gloves for baseball or sunscreen for the track meet or a trifold board for a history project that's due, tomorrow. Just to name a few totally random things that I wouldn't know anything about. Just kidding. So to stay hydrated with Ultima Replenisher, just follow the QR code or the link in the description box or just head to a Target near you. And thank you again to Ultima for sponsoring today's video. Last year while they were renovating our kitchen, I had to get really creative with our meals. I just had a little makeshift kitchen in our living area with like a microwave and a slow cooker and our refrigerator. So I was using a lot of shortcuts then, and one of my favorites that I made during that time was sort of like a Greek chicken dip. I took some prepared rotisserie chicken. I can actually get this at Aldi for around $7 a pound, which is even better than I can get it at Walmart. I usually did some heat and eat rice, like the little microwave cups, minute rice, or some of the frozen rice that you just stick in the microwave. I used some tzatziki dip. There are lots of dip options, including a couple of different tzatziki dips at Aldi. And I put that all in a bowl with some feta cheese and stirred it all together. And we would eat this with like sliced cucumbers and naan bread and just use those as the utensils. Just use those to dip into the Greek chicken dip. If you wanted a crunchy option, you could also go with like some pretzels or some bagel chips or some pita chips. They had some really great options today at my Aldi if you want that crunchy texture. I am getting ready to make up like an Asian style beef and noodle salad. These are the only ingredients that I'm using. I've got 2 of the chopped salad kits. I got the Asian chopped salad that has the sesame dressing. I have 2 packages of ramen. You actually could leave this out if you don't want to use it, but I'm going to show you how I'm using it to bulk up the meat that I'm making. I'm using some of this beef shaved steak that they have at Aldi. This is sliced so thin that it cooks up really quickly, so it's really fantastic for those nights when you only have a few minutes to get dinner together. I have a skillet heating up with a couple tablespoons of butter. You could use some cooking oil. I just like the flavor of butter. And I'm also bringing a small pot of water to a boil, and as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm gonna drop my ramen bricks in to cook. I am just seasoning my beef right here in the package it came in. I am using some of this salt, pepper, and garlic mixture that I picked up today at Aldi. They also had a variety of everything bagel seasonings that I think would work really well. And I also like to sprinkle just a little bit of flour in here just to kind of help the meat separate, especially as it cooks, so it doesn't cook up as just one big glob, you know? Okay, my meat is ready to pop in here into the skillet. And you know, I was thinking also, if you are short on seasonings to make this meal, you could also use the ramen packets, just an idea. I have my stove on just medium heat, and I want to keep moving this beef around a little bit, kind of separating it as it cooks. It does not take very long at all because it's shaved so thin. I am going to go ahead and add my flavoring packets here. You could use just like a beef bouillon too if you don't like these. And my noodles are done. They're just sitting over here in the pot, but I haven't drained them yet, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of the water here. Now that is really gonna help my meat finish cooking. It's only been cooking for about 3 minutes or so to get to this point. And we put some flour in it as well, so it'll finish That flour will soak it up. It won't be like super runny. Okay, I'm going to just add my noodles right into the pan with the beef. It is done cooking. Give that a toss. Turned my heat off because I don't really need this to stay piping hot to go on my salads. In fact, I would prefer if it cools down a little bit. While my beef and noodle mixture is cooling off just a little bit, I am gonna mix up one of my salad kits here. I'm not gonna put the toppings on yet though. I just wanna put the dressing on. We'll put the toppings on later. One of the things I love about this dish are the different textures because the noodles and the beef are really soft, and the cabbage here in this Asian salad mix and the toppings are really crunchy, so it's gonna be like a really satisfying meal. We'll make up the other one here in a bit. We'll just do one for now. So now I'm gonna put some salad here on the bottom of the bowl. Gonna add some beef and noodles here. And I've got this like crunchy slivered almonds and wonton mixture that comes with the salad kit, so you can just sprinkle some of that over the top. Maybe some everything bagel seasoning. Ooh, yummy. Man, that is tasty. And you know, depending on how you season your beef and what kind of salad kit you pick up, I mean, you could do all kinds of variations on this, I would think. If you want to leave the noodles out, maybe make it like lower carb, add some cauliflower rice or just some extra veggies to the beef while it's cooking and make those tender. I've mentioned several times on my channel the Italian sandwich that is a favorite of my kids, where I take some cold cuts like salami and pepperoni and maybe a provolone or mozzarella sliced cheese and pile it onto a big loaf of French bread with some greens and cucumbers, maybe an Italian dressing. Aldi makes it really easy to throw this sandwich together because they actually have packages of the meats and cheeses that I typically use for this sandwich already packaged together. But another spin on this would be to pick up like a bag salad kit that already has the dressing in it, and then you could slice up those proteins really quickly and toss them into the salad kit, the ingredients from the salad kit, to make a really delicious Italian salad. You could also toss that into a big tortilla to make an Italian wrap. As a mom to 3 teenagers, I know that life looks a little different than when they were little, and that means that the solutions to the challenges that we face from the day-to-day have to look a little different as well. So if you are looking for a mom in the middle years, you have found her. I have lots of great content ideas for this season, so make sure that you're subscribed and maybe check out one of these videos to watch next.